So you guys want to be profilers in the FBI, but you need to know how to get there. And I'm going to let you know how to do that. Okay. First things first, it's not easy. A lot of people think that it's easy. You just got to take a test, run a little fitness test, and you're in the FBI. No, ma'am. When I was in the Marine Corps, I worked with multiple FBI agents because for my job, I had to talk to them, whatever. So we're meshed together. We're talking. All of them hated it. Now, if you've worked in government work, you've known before, because you can't really miss it, that it sucks. It does suck as much as everybody wants to say that it doesn't. It does. So that's the thing first. You got to understand the mentality sucks. The morality pretty much sucks. And you got to know that it's going to be really tough to get in. So one, you got to have mentality. Two, you have to understand that it's going to take a lot of grit. So how do you start working on grit? Because we don't even need to be talking about becoming a profiler if you don't have the basic needs that the FBI needs, because really the only time you're going to be profiling somebody is if you do government work, or maybe within your own practice, someone asks you about something. But like, I haven't really heard of many people actually doing profiling work other than just the FBI. And even then, you don't even have to have a forensic psychology degree. So I've heard, to work in the BAU. I also had a dream of becoming a profiler in the FBI, specifically the BAU, after watching Mindhunter. You guys already know how I am with that show. But when I went and took the first test, I did fail. And those FBI guys told me, like, hey, they make sure that sometimes people fail to see if they'll come back. So I still have one opening spot left. Meanwhile, if you guys are actually looking to apply for the special agent position. I should also say that. But we can go through the whole process and be like, yeah, you got to take this test, you got to do this and blah, blah, blah. But if you don't have the determination, you don't have the grit, you don't have the mental fortitude, you're wasting your time. But you got to be mentally strong, because I could go back and do it, but I just realized now that I want to have my own practice. I would rather work through the FBI with credentials, working on high profile cases, rather than I would working within the FBI, if that makes sense. So I don't want to be a special agent in the FBI. I want to be Caitlin Bradbury, the clinical forensic psychologist that has credentials to work within the FBI, to work with profiling. Does that make sense? I don't even know if that's really a thing, but that's what I'm going to do. Don't care what anyone says. If I got to be the first person, I'll be the first person. Don't care. Pretty sure I wouldn't be, though. But you're understanding what I'm saying about the mind. To master your mind, and you master your reality. So if you want something, go get it. It wasn't for me anymore. And I'm telling you, I'm not saying that, not everyone in the earth can do it. If it was easy, everyone would do it. I'm telling you right now, it is so difficult to even get in the FBI, let alone that position. Definitely not impossible. So don't take this and think I'm discouraging you. If you're getting discouraged by it, then you're already putting yourself at a loss. You should be listening to what I'm saying and understanding, okay, then what does it take to be mentally fit? What does it take to have determination? What does it take to be disciplined, and emulate that in your life now to grow as a person in order to eventually apply and have that position? Work on conditioning, work on your mental fortitude, work on your basics like English, math, whatever for the tests. Know that sometimes they do fail people to see if you'll come back, if you do have like that tenacity, that grit, that overwhelming, like, I can do this. And really, honestly, guys, like, apply this to anything in your life, not even just with being a profiler, because you can't go into being a profiler with just thinking that like you're going to have this, and I don't mean this in any offense, but for lack of a better term, with a weak mentality, meaning you can't process your emotions, you can't look at things and problem solve and get yourself through it. Strategize, come up with a plan. If that plan doesn't work, you're doing something else. Like, you are determined to get to your goal. That's the biggest thing that I realized for just even getting into the FBI. But then afterwards, people were saying that they don't like it, from the FBI guys that I was talking to on Quantico. And they're like, you get like 1 or 2 cases a year. That's it. It's literally so boring and it's toxic, which I'm not surprised, because I was in the military too. And I understand how the government process works. And it's what you make of it, right? Embrace the suck. But for the people that are asking me like, oh my gosh, I should become a profiler, it is a slim to none chance that you will get that job. Very much making that clear, because a lot of people so far I've heard have gone for this job because they're like, yeah, I'm going to be a criminal profiler, I'm going to do all this stuff. But you don't have any accountability in your life. You don't have any discipline. I promise you that's probably not going to happen. With this career as well, I've been hearing that people are like, well, I got my master's in this and I'm having a hard time. That's honestly really sad, because the economy and going to school in general, like, you just spent all this money to get this degree and you can't even find a job. The only jobs that I've found that you can have with a master's with a license is like CO work, working in jails, working for another business, but then some people work they live in the country. How are you going to work in the city and stuff? Maybe they got online stuff. I don't know. To be honest, I really focus on pushing people towards their doctorates, and the people that are like, I don't have a way to fund it. If there's a will, there's a way. That's just how it is. You got to work for what you want. Everything is earned in life, and people come from different backgrounds and different ways with money and whatever. But at the end of the day, it's the same route. It's not going to change. It's not going to be easier for anyone. If anything, it's going to be harder because it's a harder path to go down. So if there's a will, there's a way to get your schooling. However, you don't always need to be straight up a forensic psychologist. Like there's people that also are in law school and then they just get forensic psychology and then either switch to that to be a psychologist, or they just continue on with their law and they understand how the criminal mind works. It helps them better in their practice of being a lawyer. I actually do have a couple lawyers in my class now. So think about things like that. Push for your doctorate. Understand that being a profiler would be freaking dope. Like I would love to do that too someday. However, even with my qualifications and even with everything, it is a slim to none chance. Please understand that. Don't waste your money and think you're going to get this job, which you absolutely can, but you better be in that 1 percentile, work your butt off, have some grit, some determination, discipline. Okay? If there's a will, there's a way. Do not listen to what I'm saying and think that I'm telling you have no job opportunity. You can't chase your dreams. You can't do this and that and the other. I'm just straight up telling you that it is difficult and that you need to prepare yourself now. Don't just think that it's going to come into your lap. You need to chase your dreams, attract your dreams, as they say, by turning into a new person. Look at your traumas, your faults. I could go on and on, but you get the point. Chase your dreams, even if it's hard. It is a very hard position. It does not mean it's impossible.